So kind of stealing the playbooks of like the big sevens, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Because I mean, the whole theory with Hype ever since it's launched is copying the playbook of Binance, right? Where they were buying their own token till it was 100.
Yeah, yeah. All
Right.
right. Okay, can you guys see the screen? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, I suppose the first thing we should do is actually make an update on where we sit in the challenge account, right? So let me just post everything in. Like I said, I moved many things off MEXC, so I'm gonna be putting in Phantom and MetaMask wherever I moved it to. Basically, I'm posting those instead. Do that. Okay. One, two. Where else did I move stuff? So there was, of course, move some to my Thai account.
What's Tide? Tide or Tide? What do you say?
So I've got a account open in Thailand. You know how I talked about the 0%
Oh,
cryptocurrency
Thai
tax?
account.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
So that's that. I've not moved like big money of my own assets in yet. So for now, I've just moved in like bits from the challenge account to get it started. So there's that, and of course I've got some bits left on MEXC. So whatever I've left on
Yeah.
MEXC, I'll share that as well, because otherwise I won't be able to buy and sell anything. But open positions, and here we go.
Wait, why is everyone moving funds off of Mexi? I thought those were like
There was a load of FUD coming
random
out, so
bullshit.
I was just being safe.
Okay.
Better safe than sorry, bro. They're like fake sex tapes
Okay.
of the fucking like I forgot who
What?
she was, but like someone pretty high up in MEXC, like
Yo.
just a load of
Yeah,
FUD coming out, bro. Like loads of FUD coming
I'm
out.
trying to see that. I'm trying to see that right now.
Yeah,
Sure.
these sex tapes, crypto sex tapes.
Right there, and then there's in Chrome as well. So let me open up Chrome because I've got two separate MEXC accounts. It's going to be in this one, no? Actually, no, it's better to do this. Go on, assets.
Wait, Webman, did you already cover all the advanced topics?
Yeah,
Like
just
all of
got the
them?
consolidation session left now, bro.
Oh, right. Because I still didn't get a chance to watch all the videos yet. I was gonna watch it this weekend. But yeah.
And this. I think, is that everything? Oh no, I've got Coinbase. Yeah, Ethereum fell off a cliff yesterday, but hopefully not for long. Still up though. When you enter 1,500, you ain't got much to worry about, right? So, and then where do we have? We've got Magic Eden. That's where I've got the last bits. Yeah, check's just dead. And then Bybit. Okay, so for crypto, not for stocks, because stocks is ripping right now, but for crypto, this is the current state of the challenge account as a whole. So if I go to, it's gonna be easier to send it from our phone since I just took everything from there.
Is Lemonade a China stock?
No, bro, that one we got in early because the structure for that was looking way too nice. Lemonade is not itself a China stock, no. But this is the I've got my Tau and Nova wallet, bro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the challenge account is currently spread out between those 8 accounts right there. So for the sum of, we started with 21k, remember? So just add all that up, and basically that's what we're left with for now. Like we said, we nearly got up to 60k with that, but we've lost like 45% nearly, I think, from that unrealized peak to where we are now because of this drop. So it's obviously a hit in that regard, but it's still, as long as, you know, we're above 21k, which we clear, we still clear 21k. speaking in terms of like the total growth, if you add everything up there, it's going to be like 35 or something, I believe, 36. So still not bad, right? Unless let me actually do that, just so I have like a final amount of where we currently sit. What are we at? We're at 15,392 plus 5,490. Yeah, say AVAX, everything's taken a hit. Oh yeah, so since one of that's in VAT, that much is around this much in dollars, so I'll add that on as well. 6,960. We've got 2228. 1777. 3440. Tau had a sharp drop as well, but I'm looking to build more position on that, honestly. 1869. How much is that in dollars? One sec. That's 2,438. And then we have 425 on checks. We've got like $300 on a Bybit account as well that I moved, but I've not done anything with it yet, so just add that on. So in total we're at $38,450. So obviously if you're saying we started from 21, it's nowhere near the peak we were at. That's like nearly like 22k down from the peak we were at, but still, if we're saying obviously most people out there are in the red or liquidated, if we're saying we're still more than 50% in profits, that's good enough for me, right? So 38,450, and if we put any form of reasonable, like, you know, something that's an undeniable break of structure to a lower high on BTC, I'll close everything, right? And should we get that move up towards even like 108, 109, a retest to see what kind of, you know, rolls we get, this will probably push back up above 42, 45k, right? And then, you know, if whenever we sell that, I'll do another update of, you know, if I sell, because obviously if we reclaim, then we're good to go. We're good to go higher. But otherwise, right now as we speak, from 21,000, we're at 38,450, very close to a 2x still, right? So not too shabby by all means for saying we just had a huge liquidation event and BTC's lost structure, so on and so forth. Now, of course, the other thing we have is, like we put in crypto chat, the stocks challenge account, right? And we started that with not much, so that one's done really well, and it's up especially nicely today because Rivian's up, Lemonade's up, right? China stock's doing well. This one's up as well, so I'll forward that into the chat. Right there we go. So can't complain, can't be sad, can't be pulling my hair out, you know. Yeah, it's peak because obviously we were nearly at like 60 something thousand from 21, but it's what it is, right? I thought that also would go way higher, which is why I took the sizable bet I did. I just put my money where my mouth is. For now, it didn't go higher, so we took a hit. But as long as you're still in profits, you don't give anything back, you can survive, you can keep trading. So we're still sat at nearly a 2x on the crypto account, and this stock challenge account is going to go way higher. It's obviously much slower than the crypto one because stocks move slower than crypto. But once Rivian goes, that's what I'm waiting for next. Once Rivian goes, I'm expecting Rivian to go like, you know, 30, 40, 50, 60, so on and so forth, maybe in triple digits one day, right? Depending on how well does the EV sector really develop in China. That's a long-term play. But I took half off Lemonade because since we doubled it, right, I put 1,000 in, 1,000 in profit. I'm just going to take half off easy. Why? Because things like Rivian, things like Baidu, things like Neo, even still, many of these China stocks are still at the lows, still absolutely beaten up at the lows. And, you know, like I said, I've already shared the, you know, the 5-10 year China plan, right? The exclusive ones I get from a friend, that's more like institutional level data. I'm not going to put that on YouTube. I'm recording the screen, so I'm not going to share it, obviously, because that's confidential information. But I've already shared it with you guys. China's just getting started, in my opinion. It might be a bit choppy, but China will, in my opinion, China stocks are going to go, right? Which is why I'm placing the bets on them from now. So this, you know, come a year down the line, 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line, I'll be very interested to see you know, where many of these assets end up trading. But yeah, this is an update because obviously, like I said, all transparency here, right? If I'm doing something publicly to you guys, I'm going to show the dollar amounts. I'm going to show exactly, you know, how much we started with, where we are currently, so on and so forth. So that's where we currently sit. 38, if you add all that up, 38,450. That's the dollars for crypto. And as a one second. So that is currently a 83% increase. 83% increase from when we started it, right? It's not been that much. It's been like, what, 5-6 months maybe since we started, something like that. 83% increase overall from when we started. And, you know, have we beat Bitcoin? Have we beat so on and so forth? Yeah, we have, right? So as we stand right now, 83% increase on the challenge account on the crypto side. So now that that's out of the way, that's the update. Rivian, apart from TA, I think it's gonna go because, well, first and foremost, I'm a TA investor, right? For me, if the chart looks good, I'm gonna get in. I don't even really care what the asset does underlyingly. But in terms of stocks, like I said, I think China as a whole is going to do very well. And in the bit I shared on Crypto Chat the other day from HSBC, so on and so forth, and Morgan Stanley, we know EV is going to be one big sector we're going to be focusing on. Right? We just know it is. And when it comes to EVs, I think Rivian is set up very, very well to do really, really well. They're innovating, right? Rivian as a company, they're innovating EVs. You know, they're putting their own spin on things. So I think if all of that comes to fruition, and you know, they keep getting partnerships, they keep innovating, they keep pushing out products that compete, not just like, you know, fit the mold, but actually compete, innovate, so on and so forth. I think it's set to go higher, right? We know China's focusing on doubling down on pushing these different sorts of sectors. We know EV is one of them, right? And for me, Rivian's an easy bet. You pair that with the fact that the chart looks like this, it's just an easy bet for me on Rivian. It's bottomed out. You know, someone's been accumulating this since March, right? We might chop around some more, and if we break the structure, you know, we can always de-risk and just add back lower, so on and so forth. But in terms of just the structure, in terms of what we have in front of us, right, and in terms of just the 5-year plan of China, the 10-year plan of China, so on and so forth, everything's just aligned perfectly for liquidity to flow into these assets. That's one of the reasons why I'm betting on things like Rivian, right? Not just Rivian, like I said, we've already pulled a 2x on NIO, as you can see, right? This I told you guys to get in literally at the low for the same reason, right? Another one we'll go over today is this one, Baidu. I think this is like the Chinese Google, if I'm not mistaken, right? So just look at the chart, right? It looks good, right? So these are the kind of things that I really want to like put my money into, right? So we'll take a look at some of these stocks. We'll also take a look at like the crypto side of things over the next hour. Yeah. Just a quick, relaxed one, nothing too long range EVs, yeah. So, all right, let's get started. Let's start with Bitcoin first, because obviously that's the thing we want to really take a look at, right? So the drop yesterday, no two ways about it, nasty. But right now, remember what I said. We've had this 50-week moving average be the saving grace many times, right? Many times we've had this 50-week moving average be the saving grace, and for now we're holding it. We're holding it for now, right? It's going to be very nasty if we actually end up closing the weekly below this, because we haven't had that yet. Notice we haven't had a single weekly close below the 50-week moving average since this trend's inception, right? Since we took out the last lower low that led to the lower high and put a higher low in, we know the trend shifted over here. Ever since that, we haven't had a single weekly close below the 50-week moving average. So let's see if this weekly close gives us a close higher, or if we finally get a weekly close below that 50-week moving average, right? Because that's going to be very telling in my opinion. But for now, if you take a look, right, so we've got all of those moving averages, that's all nice. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to take a look at this in terms of diagonals, right? So if I go over here and we quickly go and take a look at, because I realize I've not looked at diagonals in BTC in a while, right? So it's might as well go and take a look at this in terms of diagonals, right? I believe this is the one, not this one here, maybe this one. One sec. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so before everyone gets confused, wondering where everything came from, just a quick reminder. Here's your buy-seller zones. I'm going to turn them off once. Okay, the other time frame buy-seller zones and your 12-month buy-seller zones, right? And then I'm just going to go ahead and turn that off. Why did I put that down? Fuck knows, one sec. Must have been like a seller zone or something. I don't remember why I put that down, but it must have been a CME gap, maybe? I don't remember, but I'll leave it there. Right, so in terms of, let me turn that off for now as well. In terms of diagonals, right, where are we? Let's do this bit by bit, right? So remember, first and foremost, our macro fib channel, which is from the last completed wave structure, right? There to there to there to there, right? In terms of the last completed wave structure, what we can see is we couldn't get above where? The liquidity rate of the golden pocket, right? We can't be surprised. The liquidity rate, load of aggressive buyers came in, right? Those aggressive buyers were not rewarded, hence this drop. I wasn't really looking at this in terms of diagonals when I was here because obviously I was away, right? I was in Thailand. I wasn't really paying attention to diagonals. But in terms of firstly the macro fib channel, loads of aggressive buyers coming in for a third tap at the liquidity rate of the golden pocket, right? We couldn't get above once, we couldn't get above a second time, and the third time we put in an inverted smiley face around the liquidity rate of the golden pocket, right? So in terms of diagonals, actually, that was a very telling sign. But like I said, there's no point in me like, saying that now, like, oh damn, I missed this, what it is, right? But it was there, right? If anyone's looking at the diagonals. But we can take a look at other ones. So fifth speed resistance fan, right? This, for me, is very, very nice. What have we done? Remember, this is from the low to the first 2021 high, right? Not the macro peak, but the first peak. And I really like this one because where are we rejecting off? At the end of the day, we're rejecting off the same area. Is there a reason why we've rejected here before? Of course there is, right? Like I said, all this time, we've been in that one zone, right? That one zone where we know Bitcoin's been chopping before. In terms of historical price action, even though, yes, this is price discovery, right? Remember, is not price discovery in terms of diagonals, right? In terms of diagonals, anytime we've held that as support, we've gone to the 586, the 618, right? That area there. That's just the range. So that's the same range that we're chopping at right now, right? If you can hold this as support, we're expecting moves back up to the top of the range again. That's just what happens. That's just historical price action, right? So if this holds, first of all, your target's going to be, of course, the 618, right? Sorry, the 66 in this case. You get above the 66, the 618, and the 586. That's just what happens. That's the range that was created here. Hence, that's the range we've been following right over here, right? But we know that's not the only diagonal we've got. We've got this one as well, right? Which is the macro 50 resistance fan, right? From the low to the high. And in terms of that, we've been chopping around the 0.5. We haven't hit the actual front run of the golden pocket, nor have we gone and hit in this case the liquidity rate of the golden pocket, right? Neither side has been hit, so let's see which side gets hit first. But the purpose of this is we're going to use these together, right? We've got macro lines for a reason. So we've got two separate ones here. We can already see a very important area building for us, right? Right there. So, and last but not least, we have the downtrending fifth speed resistance fan of the downtrend from the high to the low. There's the downtrend, and in terms of the downtrend, we could not get above. We can take a look for ourselves right over here, right? The 236214, 272, 298 right here, right? The 293, 298, this region, we couldn't get above it, right? So we can see no kind of body closes above the 1.272 in this case, right? So we put these together in terms of the fifth resistance fan, right? And of course, we've got the trend shift as well. We're rejecting off again the same areas we were rejecting off before. But the macros I want us to pay attention to is 1, 2, 3. And again, if we do this, we see, and we were talking about this before, right? We were talking about how we have, even until the end of November, for us to build above this. Because this was the same area, we used this resistance once, right? Back in 2024. And then this was the same area last time we dropped. Last time we dropped in April of 2025, start of this year. This was the same area I was saying, we need to be above. Right? We had the time frame of until like mid to end of April, start of May to get above this. We were saying, as long as you get above this by that time frame, you're above where you need to be in terms of diagonals. You're exploring to the upside, right? We've hit the upside, we've hit the huge resistance that comes with all of these fib levels being above us. We couldn't get above, right? Ultimately, and we're coming back down. But don't forget, what was once resistance? What was once resistance? If it can flip to support, there is absolutely nothing that can. There's nothing to say we can't go and do this, right? Because in terms of where we're building, right? What was once resistance? What was once resistance, right? It used to be support in the past. turn to resistance, breakout. If we can confirm it to be support here, I think Bitcoin has one more leg up, right? Even if it's a lower high, fill that daily fair value gap, we'll know. Because if we go here and we start SFPing, so on and so forth, it's going to be a very easy RR short to take to the downside. It's an easy directional bet to the downside. When you start building above, that's invalidation to just get out of your short because we can probably carry on going higher, right? But as long as this is holding, we've got the 50-week moving average here, right? We've got the yearly levels to our left. As long as this area holds, we have a very clean chance that there's a very clean chance, a slim chance also, but not impossible, right? That Bitcoin can go and trade above to new all-time highs by the end of 2025. Because you look to the right, let's say just right over here, December, we can see that if you can get above this in December, there's nothing stopping you from getting towards even these intersections here, right? By the time, before 2026 even comes around. So I'm cautiously optimistic that nothing's over yet, but also, like I said, there's more arguments than ever right now for why the cycle top could be in, right? That's your hopium for if you don't want the cycle top to be in, right? And again, we don't have to just look at this. We've got pitch fans as well, right? If you look at the macro pitch fan, we topped out same ratios, right? There's a 0.5, is it 0.05, 0.13, 114, so on and so forth. We're above the midline of the pitch fan, above the midline, right? Support still, it used to be resistance, right? We can see the macro pitch fan, we're above where we need to be. What is this? Okay, so that's the fibs. We should have one more pitch fan. I don't know where it's gone though. I'm sure there was one more pitch fan. Oh, it's alright. But we put all of that on, right? So even if we just put the macros on, so that's the macro pitch fan, and that's the macro fib channel, and that is the macro fib speed resistance fan. Literally just three things. We have a very clear reason for why this is a very nice area. Look, there's golden pockets to the left where we're holding currently, right? We've hit the liquidity rates of the golden pockets, right? Middle of the pitch fan, like I said, and what was once resistance is currently flipping into support when it comes to the 50 resistance fans, right? So as long as we can hold this area, Bitcoin has a shot to go back up after grabbing all this liquidity, after shaking people out, making them think it's all over, right? But if we don't, and even if we go put a lower high in, we have a very, very easy area for us to now go and sell. If you're holding anything that you want to cut, right, and you're unsure about what to do, if you have a pump and you just can't seem to get above any of these diagonals, right, especially that cluster up there we were looking at before, right, this cluster, if you can't get back above this cluster, that's your trigger to just offload your risk over here. Whether you sell everything or you sell bit by bit, it's up to you, right? That's up to you. But that's your risk, right? You get below this, obviously that's peak. We're just going to drop even more. But if you don't, and we hold this area, and there's a lot of reasons why we could hold this area, like I said, there's a lot of reasons why, right? That area up there is going to be very, very key. Can we get above or not? Right there, right? So that's everything in terms of diagonals. We haven't looked at this in ages, right? And I wasn't paying attention to this when I was in Asia, right? Which is peak. That's come to bite me in the ass because a lot of interesting price action was actually going on. A lot of telling price action was going on at those diagonals. But it's what it is, right? I can't just pay attention to the charts all the time when I'm on holiday and stuff. So it's what it is. But it's not all. So there's reasons basically why there is still hope, right? The reason I'm being cautiously optimistic is because if I'm listening to my system one day, I have to go by it. I can't just let emotions do the talking just because all of a sudden everyone's calling tops. I can't just be like, oh yeah, the top's in because everyone's saying it, right? If we get below that weekly 50-week moving average. Look, monthly VWAP. We're currently using the monthly VWAP as support as well, the volume weighted average profile, right? If all of these levels can hold, and of course we also know what else is here, if the mid of the 2024 12-month seller zone can hold, right? This is the mid of the area where sellers were in control in 2024. We're finally coming to retest that area, right? We're currently testing into an area. Previous year, this is the area where sellers cemented control. Fact of the matter is, if we can hold the mid of that as support, remember, that's bullish, right? Because you're saying, look, sellers were unequivocally in control here before. They're trying again, but buyers are putting up buyers are putting up support, right? They're putting up a resistance against the sellers, right? So if they can hold this, and the 50-week moving average holds, like I said, and the monthly VWAP holds, and all those we don't go and lose those diagonal levels like I was talking about. Even if we have one more drive lower, there's always all you need. After that is literally, if you reclaim 108, everything's fine. 108 to 87, remember that's the line in the sand. And if you want a bit more levels, turn the 6-month levels on as well, right here. Right, so that's the 6 months. We need to be above this. That's always been the caveat, right? We need to be above this, especially 109 to 107, right? That's that zone we really want to be above, because that represents the mid to the low of your previous 6-month seller zone, and of course the high of your previous yearly seller zone, right? So now that we've taken the mid, what I'm hoping is we go and reclaim that. What I'm hoping is that happens, because obviously I don't want the crypto bull run to be over yet. If it is, it's what it is, right? But I don't want it to be over yet, because the longer it goes on for, the more money you make, right? That's what it is. So if we reclaim that, I think, you know, those higher targets are very, very much in the cards. We just have to get above the actual daily fair value gap over there. I was really hoping that, you know, before we broke down, we do something like this, right? But we took downside liquidity first and said, it's what it is. You know, I could very much see something like that happening even, right? So that's going to be a very important area for us to watch. But we've got our horizontals, right? Like I said, we've already got our diagonals. Again, if I just turn the, even just the 50 resistance fan, macro, downtrend, right? All of a sudden, what we can do is we can build ourselves a intersections, right? So we had intersections here, we have intersections lower, we also have intersections higher, right? We have loads of intersections higher. Bitcoin's very good at making people think it's the top just to go back, making them think it's the bottom just to take it back down again. We've seen this happen time and time again. I would not discount revisits of this area. Whether we go and flip it into support, that's something else entirely, right? But in terms of intersections, we have possible intersections to the upside as long as we can hold this area down over here. Right, so as long as we're above that, and like I said, we're above the 50-week moving average, and we're above the monthly VWAP, so on and so forth, I can't with chest say, oh yeah, Bitcoin definitely cannot go back higher, right? Just play level by level, zone by zone, right? For now, what do we need to do? Pivotal thing, get above 108.287. I can't be hugely bullish as long as we're below previous year high. That's just not possible for me, right? If you want to build above, make all-time highs, get above previous year high. Needs to happen. So 108.287 for me. And again, that level is going to be slightly different depending on what chart you're looking at. I'm just looking at the index, right? 108.287 on the index, 2024 high. We want to reclaim that as soon as possible if you're a bull, right? So you reclaim this, you know, that's your next zone. You reclaim that, that's your next zone, so on and so forth. Just play level by level. And if you see weakness, right, and you feel like you're overexposed and you're happy with how much you have, right, and you think, okay, you know what, I've gone back into this green, or I've gone back into this much money, I'm happy with this. I would really suck if I went back to where I was a few days ago. Imagine we're trading up here, then get rid of some, go back into some dollars, right? If you feel like you're overexposed and you're not sure whether we're going to go higher, Bitcoin's not giving you that strength you want to see, right? Just read the price action of the areas, but the areas there now are very clear. And obviously, like, for the average person looking at YouTube, this is going to be like, what the hell is this chart? But that's why I've explained everything bit by bit, right? We know what the diagonals are, we know what the horizontals are, we know how to use them to square off price against time, so you guys know what to do with that information, right? So there's a bit of hope here for you. Hopefully we can trap some sellers, we can go reclaim this, because if we do, you know, we go to 116, 117, you know, rate that level. If we see weakness, that'll be a very beautiful area to offload a spot, or, you know, get into some more shorts, so on and so forth, right? But of course, to get to that, we need to get above this. That's your big level. If you go up here and you cannot get above, don't sit there twiddling your thumbs thinking we're definitely going to go up here. Just, you know, even if you think we're going to go higher, if you get here and you see resistance, just start looking for those scalp to swing shorts, scalp shorts, right? Because obviously you wanna be defensive, you wanna play safe at areas like this, right? One sec, someone's got a hot mic. I'm gonna mute you for now, brother. Liquidity Cap, just because your mic's hot. But oh wait, no, it's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Hope you're well, bro. Right, so let's take a look. OTF, buy seller zone. That's everything. Yeah. So that's BTC, right? Fairly simple here. We've lost key levels that, as I said, we absolutely need to hold, right? We've very much lost those key levels, which is why I'm so cash heavy on the challenge account right now. And I'm only holding like some projects I really believe in. Like my biggest holding right now is, apart from BTC and ETH, of course, it's Tau, right? Tau. I've got Zen, right? I'm trading Zen as well. Zcash, right, for my main. I've not got any Zcash on the challenge account. That's in my main account. ICP. I'm building a position on ICP as well, right? So these are the ones I'm looking to build because just few high conviction bets, right? Where it's easy to manage risk. That's all I'm doing, right? But yeah, so that's BTC. Let's look at ETH real quick. Ethereum, if you take a look, right over here. We lost the key inflection area mid. That's peak, but 50-week moving average once again tested. Historical price range 3 mid has also been held. Again, now what do we want to see? We want to see this, right? We want to see a reclaim. That's it. All right, you've had your fun. You've scared us enough. Go reclaim. If you go up here and you cannot get that reclaim, well, you know where you're looking for shorts on Ethereum, right? Either we cannot sustain above 3.35, the 20-12 month solar zone low, and you build scalp to swing shorts off that anytime you get below this if you're scalping, right? Or you get up here and you just see, if you see weakness coming in at any of this area, you've got yearly levels on top of your key inflection area, right? If you see those weakness coming in at those yearly levels, that's where you're going to be looking for that scalp to swing mounted shorts, or just swing shorts, right? It's up to you. I typically go for scalp to swings simply because it gives me a better RR, right? Overall on the trade, but that's the area to do. So we know what we need to reclaim on Ethereum. It's very simple, right? That's what we need to reclaim. And if you go back up here and we cannot get above, right? I'll also be offloading some position. Oh, I forgot to share the Prime XBT account, right? That's got the add another 1,000 to what we had. I knew I forgot something to this, because obviously we've got our Prime XBT account as well, but we've got the ETH against BTC and LTC against BTC going, right? So let me put that in as well. One sec. That one's taking a hit too, but I'm getting my wish. What I really wanted was a size up, right? But getting opportunity to size up on ETH against BTC. So if I go to accounts, there we go. This is what we're currently sat at. So add another 1,300. Let me share it. I knew I forgot something. There we go. The hell? One sec. My phone's glitching out. There we go. Alright, so if we take the number we had before, and add just 1,300 to that. Yeah, 39,750. There we go. From 21k. So that's basically a 90%, right? So 90% from overall, the challenge account is up 90%. Which, for saying we've had this massive drop, is not bad at all. Hey, let's compare that. Let's compare that to, when did we start this? I always forget. Let me go back to the challenge account section. One sec. We started this, if I go all the way to the top, June 2025, right? June, literally June 11th 2025. So it's been what? June to July, July to August, August to September, September to October. It's been like 4 months. It's not even been it's been like 4 months. Yeah, it's been like 4 months and some June to July, July to August, August to September to October. Nearly 5 months. Sorry, it's been nearly 5 months, right? So 90%, 5 months in these market conditions. I'd say, that's a job well done. So I'm obviously not gassed because we were up way more. At peak, we were up like 60 something thousand, which is way more than 90% increase. But for saying the market conditions, like, I've not been able to give this like 100% of my attention like I would have normally. It's not bad, right? 90%. And then obviously stocks is what we've got going on the side. That's up too. One second. Right, have I... Oh yeah, if anyone's wondering about the Hyperliquid, because we had like 1,000 something on Hyperliquid as well, right, for OP. Yeah, in that October 10th drop, yeah, that obviously got wiped out as well. So that's why the Hyperliquid is not there. That got wiped out. If that hadn't been wiped out, we would have been at like that liquidity. If the stop loss or break even had hit on that one, that would have put me on pretty much we would have been at 2x, right, 100%. But yeah, that got wiped out. So that's that. And yeah, we've got stocks as well, which is nicely up. So not a bad job, right? Not a bad job for the amount of attention we've given to this, and literally the effort we've put in. Is it's not like we've been in front of our screens trading every 5-minute candle, right? Literally some solid bids, and then just holding, watching it do its thing, taking profits, rotating it. That's not bad at all. And that's gonna of course go back up again if, like, this is a shakeout and we go back up, and TAR plays out, Zen plays out, ICP plays out, so on and so forth. Then of course we can take it back up to 60, 80, maybe even 100, right? If everything goes really, really well. If we do get that promised alt season, like I'm talking a blow off alt season, not just select alts running alt season, but we'll have to see, right? But again, that's that. Okay, so that's BTC, that's Ethereum, right? Ethereum, we know what we're looking for. We need the reclaim. If you don't see reclaim, just understand now you got to flip. You can't just be holding, praying everything goes up. If you go there, you see weakness, don't be scared to hit that red button, okay? It's there for a reason. We're traders, not just investors, right? We're traders as well. But many of us are anyway. If you don't, use leverage whatsoever, that's fine, right? But this is, if you don't want to short, don't want to hedge, the only option you have is de-risk your spot. Because if you believe this to be a top, and you're not thinking in terms of an investor, you're thinking, okay, I've made my money and I'm looking for a way out, right? I want to I want to reduce risk. This is where you would sell into. You'd sell into any pump to lower highs you get at this area. I'd wait for price action confirmation, because the one thing I'd hate for is everyone just blindly selling only for us to reclaim and go higher, right? That's why I personally always wait for price action confirmation. Of course, that means I'm not going to get the Pico entries, right? But it's okay, because for higher time frame plays, like I've said, you don't need it. The fact we're 90% right now is testament to that, right? Because anyone simply looking for Pico entries, many of those people are wiped out right now, right? You're just going to be able to survive the bulk of the market. That's the name of the game, okay? So that's the area where the magic happens on ETH. Pay attention to what happens there. So that's BTC and that's ETH, right? So let's also look over some stocks, because when I do a stream on, in fact, I'll just quickly go over some things on master list, not everything, just a few. Dixie, this is the reason I've been saying that. What were the few reasons we said we got to be cautious on alts, right? You can't be fully bullish. What was one of the more reasons? Dixie looking like it's found a local bottom here. Something that could turn even more significant. As you can see, is breaking out, right? The trend line broken out of that 382. Hell, so at this point, what am I looking for? First things first, just go rate that high. Heart line, midline, 2024 Tom Sellers on low. Let's see what happens here. If we reclaim that, we're getting a full type 2 return, in my opinion, right? Maybe get bearish divergence across that and then go lower. If not, you just don't want to see us going above this. Now you can put diagonals on this, you can, right? But I just want to keep it simple. I just want to keep it simple, so we have a very obvious high here. If we can get and flip that into support and flip this into support, it's top of the range into these yearlies. If we can't, then that could be where you turn around and start coming back down, creating a local range from there, right? So very simple on Dixie. USDT dominance. Another spike up into the supply right here. For now, what this looks like is consolidation below resistance, which people might think is bearish, but it's not, right? Consolidation below resistance is bullish in the sense what it's saying is you're right below supply and there isn't enough supply to damage that demand coming in. It's showing demand is meeting supply, right? So you don't want to see consolidation below resistance. In the same way, you don't want to see consolidation at support. You want to see reactions of support. You want to see reactions of resistances, right? So we're consolidating under resistance for now. So what we want to see is a breakdown. We want to get below 5.09%, right? We want to do something like this, okay? Do that. That'll give us a shot to go lower. Otherwise, if we go and start doing this, USDT dominance, potential breakout, that could be happening depending on how this plays out, right? And then, of course, we can look at BTC dominance plus USDT dominance as well. And this was the big reason, right? Even the last stream we did, this was the big reason I said alts are not out of the woodwork yet. Because the combination of Bitcoin dominance and stablecoin dominance, it was still above 66.11%. It never broke below. Your liquidation wick, it never got below. And that's the one thing I said, one of the biggest things, apart from the Dixie being at support, was that this had not broke below 66.11. What we said was, if you want a full-blown, if you want the chances of alts really catching bids, you want to see this. That's what we were talking about, right? The fact it didn't, we always said above 66.11, what was the target? Well, the mid, 68.71. We've gone and hit that mid now. If you can't get above it, that's great. Hopefully what we do is see that finally, right? But if you do get above it, the next thing you do is go and rate the highs. Again, maybe get a type 2 return and then go lower, right? But yeah, apart from that, total 1, Just go take a look. Where are we here? Total 1. Retesting the trend line still below the level we need to be. Right over there. We couldn't get it back above at that retest. Right, you got a lower high at what used to be resistance, support, back into resistance, back down. Total 2 flipped the old previous range highs into support. That's nice of total 2, and we hope that leads to something significant. Right, again, 50-week moving average retested on total 2. Not as significant as on Bitcoin, because we can see this is broke below many times, right? But at the end of the day, it's something, right? So as long as this holds, the range now should be pretty clear. This is the range. Until proven otherwise, and until we break down, this is the range you're working with, the white box. Right, you've hit the range lows, so hopefully we get some sort of move to the range mid. If you flip the mid to the range high, so on and so forth. Right. But apart from that, I don't even want to look at much else. Right. Total 3 against Bitcoin. Not looking that bad. Actually, I thought it looked worse. Total 3. Arguably, that looks better, to be honest. Total 3 right now looks better than Total 2, which is kind of crazy. Again, fighting the 50-week moving average, but you're above your 2021 high still, right, which is nice. But yeah, right now, you just focus on like totals. Total 1, Total 3, right? Just look at those. Look at the Bitcoin chart, ETH chart. Look at some alts you think is bottomed out, but you always have more time than you think in conditions like this, right? One mistake people fall into is thinking every bounce has to be the bottom, right? Especially if you're holding bags. I've been through that, right? Obviously, this is not my first cycle. I've been through that, in the previous cycles, especially when I first started trading years and years and years back. I know what it's like, where you're back holding something and you think every bounce, oh, yeah, we're bottom out, we're going to go back higher. It's hopium, right? Look, if you've been stung, if you're in the red a bit, doesn't matter. Look at things holistically. Don't let that emotion, don't let being in the red, don't let your ego cloud you from making a sound judgment. Because you can make something that is just a scratch and turn into something that requires an amputation, right? Not every bounce has to be a bottom, right? But that also doesn't mean that for definite you have to think, okay, we're definitely breaking down now. Just play level by level. I've given you triggers for when you would think, okay, we're back on. I've given you triggers for when you get confirmation of, okay, that breakdown has just been validated, with no room for like, oh, this might happen now, right? So we've got both sides. We just got to see which one the market gives us now, right? That's it. So with that being said, let's actually move on to what I wanted to move on to today, which is stocks, right? Before I go on, alts, I'm looking at, like I said, ICP, and I'm going to do a separate stream on this, why I really like ICP here, apart from the fact it's at the lows, right? Apart from the fact we've got strong volume coming in. Have any of you seen Caffeine AI? Does anyone know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Caffeine AI? Right. This thing is insane. It's built on the ICP blockchain, right? And it basically builds a website or an app for you. Like, it's actually crazy. I built a website for my restaurant in like 5 minutes. A very bareback one, so it needs a bit more fine tuning. But it literally builds it for you, right? It's actually insane. And you need ICP, I believe, is one of the ways to actually get a membership to the AI. I'll put it in the group chat. I'll put it in group chat later, or I'll do another stream on it, because I want to go over some stocks today rather than have much time. But we'll touch on that another time, right? But ICP, it's got a fundamental reason as well for why it could be, something nice, right? TAR, for obvious reasons, it's got very nice strength. That is an insane sell-off that we got. But again, like I said, that 524 level was the level to watch, right? I can guarantee there's probably aggressive buyers going in there. If I go on to aggressive buyers coming in, not being rewarded. Again, where was this? This was at the 618, right? Remember, we've hit the type 2. We have finally hit the type 2 of the harmonic. So that's the type 2 hit. If we can flip not type 2, T2, we've hit the second target of the harmonic, M shape right over there. We've hit the second target. If we can go and we can flip the 382 into support, I'll be looking at moves back to 440, above 440, 524, above 524, 609, 777, literally just key level to key level, right? I'm just going to be, as long as we're holding this, right, I like Tau. Even you've got your yearly levels here under 382. Another thing to realize is this is at an area where, for those of you that are talking about scalping, this is one of the coins you can scalp very easily right now. Coins like Zen, coins like Tau, these are the ones what you want to scalp. Why? Because many of these are look where they are, right? Just look where they are. They are at support, right? Not only support, they're at yearly levels. Anytime you see support coming in here, you can take a play on these, right? So Zen, same thing, right? It's building above 2020 12-month seller zone high. So anytime you're here, look, anytime you're above that 1 hour, in this case 50, this 50-hour moving average, right? In this case, you're above that 2022 month seller zone. You can look for scalp to swing longs. Okay, you can easily look for scalp to swing longs. You literally, you know, it's right there. You just read the price action here. If one side's giving you the directional edge in terms of RR and in terms of, like, you know, trap traders, so on and so forth, you just take the directional bet. Anytime you're above, you know you're prioritizing upside. You get below, cut. Simple. That's all lower time frame trading is about. Very simplified, right? ICP, Tau, Zen, ZEC, Dash is another one that's pumped 10x. I haven't even looked at that chart, but I literally only realized the other day that Dash had done a 10x, and I was like, what the hell? All the downer coins are moving, right? There's so many alts that look absolutely bottomed out right now, right? So I want to do a dedicated altcoin stream where we go over bottomed out alts, what could be our very good areas to bid, right? There's so many of those, but just pay attention to these, right? Coins like Aptos, I know we cut this because it wasn't giving us the reaction we wanted here, right? We came back to break even, we went a bit below break even, so we cut it, right? But that doesn't mean I think it's over for Aptos, right? This has been a prime example of what distribution is, right? Initial, and again, I don't know if anyone was about 2022, but if anyone got the airdrop, all you had to do to get the Aptos airdrop was mint a free NFT on their chain. It took 3 minutes, and the airdrop here was like, we got like 3 to 5k depending on 3 to 6k depending on where you sold it. I managed to sell like pretty high up, right? So I got nearly 5k for this airdrop, literally free, right? Because I only minted one NFT. I should have just made a shit ton of accounts, but I didn't. It's what it is, right? Because I was in uni at this time. But that happened initially, right? To a lower high, to another lower high, to another lower high, and then now this is what, you know, hats off to whoever's market making this, because like even I thought around here we must be so close to below, and then boom, straight nuke, right? They're still not done distributing. This they just sold into as well, down. But the fact of the matter is, our buy opportunity here didn't play out. It's what it is. We took a bet at the best place at that time we could have, right? This was. Because the fact of the matter is, if in hindsight this had gone up and the market maker was done with the distribution, right? In hindsight, that would have been such an obvious bottom. All these M shapes completing at yearly levels, right? The market maker, whoever's market making this, wasn't done, so it's what it is, right? We go lower. Now I just want to see signs of a bottom forming somewhere around here. Now I don't know whether we go and break this low, but the fact of the matter is, we've taken everything apart from the exchange listing low, right? So if we can have some sort of bottom forming structure in Aptos, this is another one I'm interested in, because distribution's been done to the extreme here, right? Very soon there's going to be 0 point in distributing this. Unless the actual chain is dead, there's going to be 0 point distributing this, right? So Aptos, very soon in my opinion, we will eventually get a very good playoff on this, right? It wasn't meant to be that time. It's what it is. Eventually I do think we get a very good playoff on this. So Aptos, I'm still keeping in my watch list. But Zen, Tau, ICP, Zcash, right, all of these coins that we rotated into, they've done well, right? Tau, obviously, back down for now from where we talked about it, right? Back down, not quite a break even yet, but very close. You're above the yearly levels, but I don't mind, right? Listen, this is not your emotions don't get swayed by weekly candles every single week, right? Not if it's a higher time frame play. Fact of the matter is, this was showing strength, and for now, it's still showing strength, right? Yeah, we have a weekly sell-off, but as long as we can maintain our moving averages, as long as we can maintain our actual horizontal targets, right, our key levels, this is just chop, right? We had a breakout, we grabbed liquidity from all these highs, we hit an obvious target, breakout traders weren't rewarded, aggressive buyers weren't trapped, we ran their stops, so hopefully Tau eventually goes back to the upside as well, right? But Tau is one I'm building slowly. Even more than that, just fundamentally, I do like what Tau is. It's like the AI, it's like Bitcoin AI, right? So I like Tau. ICP for the creative AI, and just where we are on the chart and the volume that's coming in and the fact all the downers are moving. And again, everything's been taken on this. Trap traders have not been rewarded. Aggressive sellers were not rewarded, right? This has also been distributed to all hell. So these are the kind of ones I want to like just build spot positions in, right? Moving forward. So, but yeah, we've got loads of other alts we can look at as well, right? We've got loads of alts we can look at, but we'll have a dedicated altcoin stream. But what we really want to look at today is some stocks. So of course, Lemonade, like I said, absolutely ripping, right? The reason I took profits, simple. We've got a 2x and we're near obvious liquidity now, right? We might go rate this a bit more, but we've had an insane move up. These are the kind of move ups that typically, like, you know, it's a coin toss whether you keep going higher or you come back and you chop, so on and so forth. I don't care. I've done a 2x. I'm freeing up liquidity because I see the opportunity that's still present here with that capital, because EHang hasn't moved. We have things like let's take a look, right? We have things like Neo, I can still size up into at given opportunity. I've got things like Rivian, I can still size up into given opportunity, right? So there's other there's other stocks out there where that 1,000 now, the profit I've taken, the 2x, now now that it's been done on Lemonade. There's other coins where that 2x will go further, in my opinion, than just holding a Lemonade bag, right? Risk to reward wise now, this is 2x. That's why I'm taking the initial out, right? So 1k free on the challenge account, and I'm looking to put that 1k into probably Rivian, right? But if not, things like Baidu, whatever's got opportunity in the stock, well, we just rotate it, right? You just keep that money in play. If not, we just have cash inside for if we do get a dump, we can just size back. Even if you want to size back literally into Lemonade at a retest or some shit, if we get it, right, we can size back up. But that's done, right? So Lemonade, 34% up today, insane move up. We caught this very, very nicely, right? This was an amazing play, and this is what I mean. Look, it's like, no one's interested. Structure's been identified. We've got a one directional bet, so we get in, right? It's as simple as that. So Lemonade, beautiful play. Neo, still at a 2x for us, and it's been doing nothing but going sideways for like the last couple of months, right? If we take a look, literally sideways for the last couple of months. As soon as we get above 771, Neo flies to double digits, in my opinion, right? Neo flies. I'm looking at this weekly buy seller zone right over here as a target, right? Neo flies there, in my opinion. As soon as we get above 771, this is what I'm looking for right over here to go into. Again, if you're looking for entries on Neo, as long as you're above the 34382, again, I'd say why not, right? Why not? If you get below this, just cut it until you get back above again. But Neo's good. Let's take a look. What else? And if anyone has a stock they want me to look at, I've posted as well. I've started my position already, like I said, on Estee Lauder, right? I'm not sizing up on this until we either go down and test like the 50-week moving average or something, or we go and flip 102 into support, the 2023 low. I'm not putting big size in until we're above significant levels, right? So that's a significant level for now. That's putting us under. And until we get above that, I'm not putting big size in, just starter positions, right? LAC coming literally all the way, and this is why it's so important as well to take profits, right? LAC we call for a 277.47% move, right? And if anyone was still bag holding this, look, you've already given back how much to the market? 57% to the market. And structure right now, that's a Burj Khalifa. That's not what you want to see after a breakout. That's not, right? That's weakness. You don't want to see that. That just means that someone sold in, right? Whoever accumulated this sold into this move. That's all that means, right? And they released the news to get aggressive buyers who didn't enter where they needed to actually, be left bag holding. Because after a breakout, you want consolidation. You don't want a straight sell-off. That's just straight weakness. That's showing, no demand, right? So LAC, for now, nothing to be done until we get back maybe towards 384. Heck, we might even revisit 344. How crazy would that be? Give us a second entry, right? But LAC, we played this so well, right? Entered, took profits, boom, done, right? Done with the thing. So EHang, another one that I think is very slept on right now, right? Chinese stock. I think EHang will do really well. As long as you're above this, you've got a reason to be in EHang, right? You look at the 3-day, you look at the weekly, so on and so forth. You're above you're chopping around the 50-week moving average, you're above the 50-week 200 moving average, right? But more importantly, the structure, right? Again, this is accumulation right here. Someone's accumulating this since 2022. That's why I like it. Now, if I want to buy EHang for the challenge account, I realize what I have to do is send some money back to my bank and then transfer that money to a normal trading 212 account, right? So obviously there's the stocks and shares ISA account, which is what I'm using to do this challenge account in, right? And then there is also a normal stocks and shares account, right? And EHang isn't in the stocks and shares ISA account, it's just in the normal stocks and shares account. So if I want to buy EHang, I'm going to have to do that. But if I do that, I'm probably not going to put much size in because I want to give as little as possible in tax, obviously. But EHang, still a very beautiful stock to consider in my opinion, especially if you want a horizontal level, just manage your risk around 1680, right? If you want a bigger range, manage your risk around the fact that the bottom of the channel is holding. There's so many ways you can look at this, but the main thing to look at is, remember, forget local levels, look at the bigger picture. What do you see? You see that someone has been accumulating this since 2022, 2024, 2024, 2024, 2025. There's a lot of, anytime this drops, someone's out there buying it up. That's what we know, right? So that is EHang. Still in M&S, right, chopping about, but I really like the structures building here, and I really hope this finally gives us a breakout, because if this goes over here, like I said, this will be a very, very big trade for me, and I can close out on very, very nice profits. So just waiting for this to happen. But M&S, that's a personal play. Tesla, Like I said, right? Bam, triggered. I think we get the target soon. Tesla looks insanely strong. This looks crazy strong. 1.272 to the 1.618. We're gonna get it soon, in my opinion, right? Wouldn't be surprised if you can build above 658, you know, whatever, midway through next year, Q2, Q3 next year, Q1 next year, who knows? But if you build above 658, this goes very fast to 4 digits. Tesla to 1,000. It's gonna happen one day. Mark my words. Tesla to 1,000 plus. It's gonna happen one day. It just is. I really hope for a monthly backfill. Right? I'm greedy. I really hope for a monthly backfill, one final shakeout. I don't know if we get it, but if we do, I really hope for this. Honestly, I would kill for this. And I'm really pissed that BingX got rid of, like, if anyone remembers from like years, this was a while back, but BingX got rid of, like, you know, you could leverage trade on BingX, right? One of the first exchanges, crypto exchanges you could actually leverage trade stocks on. I had Tesla from 100 and something, right? Tesla from 100 and something. I had PayPal from so low. I had Coinbase from so low, right? Literally from these lows, I had, like, you know, 3x longs on, right, on these with, and, you know, I think BingX realized that, not just me, but obviously a few people probably had these sort of trades open where they probably realized that given if things go how the general anticipation of the markets for over the next few years, the exchange is probably going to lose a lot of money just from people holding those positions. I reckon that's the reason this has got completely got rid of stock trading, because some of us caught some really nice trades on this, and I think some of you probably remember that, right? Because I put it on Twitter, I put it on everything. But yeah, that's Coinbase, right? Coinbase, Tesla, PayPal. Those are my big 3 stock plays. Like, I had some big size 3x longs on these. Too bad they got rid of it. And that's just one of the things. Like, one of the reasons why having just the shares on the spot itself is so useful. Because once you have that, no one can just take it off you, right? Leverage is not yours; it's synthetic. So, you know, anyone can do whatever they want to it, realistically speaking. But yeah, Tesla looks good. EHang, like I said, that looks good. RR, Rolls-Royce, don't want to look at this. There's nothing to do with this, right? Filthy chart in a good way. Made me a lot of money, this one. Coinbase, I think another one, obviously a crypto stock, but if we get that 50-week backfill, you know, that'd be a nice area now. Right? Like I said, hopefully you can see why I said I'm not buying Coinbase up here, because risk to reward wise, directional bet wise, it just wasn't worth it. But now, if we come and backfill some of these key levels, we start chopping here, backfilling some of these, I might slowly start adding back to my Coinbase back. BlackBerry, obviously still in this as well. I think this also looks beautiful, right? Compressing on the weekly, compressing on the 2 weeks, trying to get over your 50-week monthly moving average, 50-month moving average, and in fact you're closing above it right now as we speak. We've got 22 days still, but right now you're above it. So hopefully BlackBerry is another one that you know, over time the structure is building, the area it's at yields some really nice one-directional bets at. Webull being another one. I don't know how this is holding up. Oh no, this one is, yeah, that 86 has obviously been lost. So if you took either of these 2 plays and you took a hard stop, you'd be out. And even if you're in manually on Webull, which I am, if I do not see strength soon, and I do not see us going to reclaim this, because I personally went with this one, if we do not see it coming up, I've not DCA'd, like you can see in the screenshot I put in right over here. Webull's the only one in red, right? I only put a starter position in of 300 and like 50 pounds or something like this. So either we reclaim for me to size up, right? Or if we go and just start turning this to resistance, we just can't get above, I'll just cut. It's what it is, right? Of course, Rivian, don't need to see anything else. The structure itself, I've gone over this enough times, right? The structure itself is beautiful on Rivian. That breakout retest there, we get it. I will probably add some position. So let's say I took 1,000 out from 11.8. Maybe I'll add an initial 300 to 350, and then if we start actually building above and we start T-WAPing, and I see bullish T-WAPing, and I see you know, vertical accumulation taking place, then I'll add more than just 300 to 350. Maybe even that full 1,000 I'll size up with, just to play the next. If we break out from here, for me, I'll be looking at like going to raid these, right? That'd be the next obvious target before you look at any more weakness potentially, right? But yeah. Keep a close eye on Rivian. Very nice move up on this today. Hopefully it doesn't get absolutely wicked down, right? Hopefully I'm not jinxing it by saying that either. But, you know, we've seen that happen a couple of times. Hopefully it doesn't get wicked down. Hopefully we're not met with a bearish engulfing candle after this. But, yeah. Hopes up, right? Let's see when we get that move. Not hit the target yet. No hit. It's like with ETH, right? I was there for like 6 weeks to 8 weeks not doing anything. I'm not interested in INT until we get this. I want to raid. If we don't raid, I don't care. It's what it is, right? having a bit of discipline in your system helps. ClearSpark, like I said, the reason you don't buy here is for the very same reason you wait for a flip to buy here, right? Aggressive buyers to the 4-on-4, to the levels here. No one got in, so we probably go back towards the mid now, and I hope we do. We go back towards that mid. ClearSpark is a nice area to bid, in my opinion, right? We've got a very clear range on ClearSpark. Somewhere around this is going to be the mid of the range. The mid holds. We can't be surprised if it goes back higher. All your diagonals, or rather your dynamic support resistances, your EMAs and your MAs are here as well. Yeah, still chopping, still going. Looks like it wants to pull more all-time highs in. 122 probably comes soon on this, to be honest. UPS, there we go. Rejection from that box we were talking about last time, right? Not above yet, but if we can get the higher low here now, that'll be an easy area. Or even here, it's an easy area to manage risk, right? You could literally buy UPS here, and if we lose 89.11, you can just get rid of it. So UPS is another one that's at an easy area to manage your risk on. But the structure hasn't shifted bullish for us yet. Maybe locally on like the daily or something, the last level high, the latter low, so on and so forth. But on like a higher time frame basis, you look at the weekly, you look at the monthly, we don't have anything significant happening yet. So you got more time than you think to build your positions out on some of these stocks, right? Oklo, someone asked for LLY in the meantime, I reckon as well. I think someone did, yeah. We'll look at LLY. Remember that was the one we're looking at. There we go. At the top of the last time we talked about this, we were saying this mid right over here. As long as you're above that, look to get to the top of the parallel channel, because you have a very easy parallel channel here, right? So you look like you're getting to the top of that parallel channel today, right? You look like you're getting to the top of that here. And am I right in believing this is the one where we had a 618, or am I mistaken? One sec. One of them had like a. One sec. I forget which one it is. We had a W shape on one of these. Maybe not LLY then. But I remember vividly one of these had like a 618, and we were talking about a BAM. Was it this one? One of these had a BAM. I'm sure it did. One sec. BAYN, we know this is still at a very good area. Nothing's changed on BAYN from last time. The very amazing entry place would be smiley face, of course. And the area for the smiley face is right over here on BAYN, right? So if you can confirm that smiley face here, beautiful entry coming up on this one, in my opinion. Don't need to look at that. Don't need to look at, yeah, this was the one, yeah, BHP. Okay, so we can go to LLY. LLY, you don't buy this here. If anything, if you're in positions, this is where you would consider taking some profits, simply because well, you would take some profits here if you're trading, right? Because look, you're at an area where every time aggressive buyers have stepped in, you've not been rewarded. But this does look like resolution to the upside. It rated the lows. This does look like a potential breakout could finally be underway soon, right? But I do really want to see a breakout retest here now. You definitely wouldn't add any position here. There's no harm in taking positions off over here. You're at resistance, right? You're near all-time highs. You don't have to take everything off. But if you get that consolidation, if you get a break above consolidation, you can put a little bit of size back on, because that probably leads to expansion again. But LLY looks bullish. This looks really, really nice, bro. This looks insane. And again, this was such a one-sided bet here, because again, if you guys go and look at the streams. We've talked about this in a few streams. You said it's a simple one direction. I know I keep saying one directional bet, but you've got to understand, like on a higher time frame basis, even on a lower time frame basis, that's all you're looking for. You're looking for an area where you have a unconditional one directional bet. Over here, as long as you're above that midline, the one directional bet is, as long as we're holding, we go to this is your range, you go to the top half, right? You get below, easy to cut. As soon as you close below, cut, right? Simple. So the one directional bet would have played out to the upside here. LOL, beautiful, right? Insane move up. Hey Leah, welcome in. I know this is your first stream. Nice to see you in here. Glad to have you, Leah. Yeah, so you can wait to see how the weekly closes. You could, if you want a bit more, you could wait to see how the 3-day closes in 24 hours. You could see how the daily closes in. Oh wait, no, it's post trading, isn't it? Yeah. But if you cannot, it's simple, right? If you cannot get above this, bro, if you cannot get above the parallel channel high, the aggressive buying would not have been rewarded, right? But if we take a look at what LLY is actually bringing us, one sec, let's look at the actual, the hell, here we go, right, stocks. Let's look at LLY again. I know I've taught you guys I know I've taught you guys volume footprint in terms of crypto, but remember this works for everything, right? It's a fundamental. Let's go 10,000 ticks. Is that too low or is that too... Oh dear, one sec. No, we need lower. I need 90 ticks for lower time frame. Oh wait, no, but no, just do give me 500 actually, because I realize I'm on the 3 minutes. No good. I want to be on the daily here. Oh, that's okay. There you go. See, on the daily, what you're seeing is aggressive buyers coming in. We have point of control above us. We have all that aggressive volume above us. So right now, you know aggressive buyers are not being rewarded. Okay, so if you're in profits and you took this as more of a trade than an investment, then this would definitely be a good time to take some profits. And you know, if you ever go and price action comes in to invalidate this, like I said, you build above your parallel channel, right? You build above the point of control of said seller. This is buyer absorption, right? Area where buyers are absorbed. You can always size back in for a new trade, right? But for now, that is unequivocally that is buyer absorption, right? You can see you have all this. You have 721,410 contracts traded, with 51,760 of that being on the long side, right? Or rather, like, you know, that much more aggressive buyers than sellers, right? And yet, in the face of all that aggressive buying, you're saying this is happening. So clearly that aggressive buying is going into something, and what is that something? It is that passive sell wall. There's limit sells up here, people just passively setting limit orders to take profits, right? It's to be expected. We're at all-time highs and at resistance. So until we clear this, we might, who knows, we might go fill some of these aside imbalances before going higher, but we'll have to see, right? But weekly, on the other hand, does look fantastic. So this is just purely on a trader's perspective on the daily, right? If your time frame horizon is, you know, weekly and plus, weekly for now looks fine, but it's just the fact that you can see very clearly on something like the 4 hours even, you can see how this closed, right? Point of control was all the way at the peak, you closed below, hence this little pullback here. You know, you could take, basically the best thing to do right now probably is to take partials. Take partial off, leave a bit for further price action development, for the weekly to close, so on and so forth. But for now, higher time frames fine, but you're seeing some weakness coming in on the lower time frames like the 4 hours, the daily, so on and so forth. Yeah, so taking partials is probably the best bet instead of closing everything. TWAPing is a way in which people spread their bids out over time, right? You know, it's you can do it manually, you can do it through like an actual TWAP bot, so on and so forth. But you know, when you see vertical accumulation, for example, typically that's done through a TWAP, right? What does that mean? It means that there's someone out there that has either got a TWAP bot up to buy every 15-minute candle, right, with a little bit. So there's consistent bids coming in, right? Consistent liquidity being provided. Or, for example, I mentioned I'm manually TWAPing, for example, SQL at the highs before, around the lower time frame. Typically, TWAP's done on the higher time frame, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll be doing on the lower. I'm personally typically TWAP's done on the lower time frame, but I was trying to do it on the higher time frame, right? But time frame does not matter. You can TWAP anywhere you want. Basically, think about it literally as DCing candlesticks, right? That's the simplest way I can think to explain it. Just DCing candlesticks. So you might decide to buy a certain amount every 3-minute candle for the next 4 hours or something like this, right? That is something like that would be what a TWAP is. Money laundering. Yeah, I can talk about that as well. But I can't put that on YouTube, I'm afraid. But yeah, so that's LLY. But you know, we've got loads of good stocks as well. That's the beautiful thing, right? I think, like I said, China stocks will do amazing. We've had insane stock plays, and those of you who've known me for longer probably also know of stock plays from before, right? Before I even ran this server, right? If you're in other servers, then you probably know. But there's still loads of like opportunities we have in stocks. So I've not even gone through all of these. Let's take a look. BTC. I wanted to get the box. Not got the box yet, so I'm not interested. MSTR. Have we got? There we go. We've hit the deep crab, right? This is make it or break it levels for MSTR. This is 886 to the hop. This is the deep crab hop. 2.0 and the 3.618. All this aggressive selling, we kind of want, you know, structure to come in here and a sort of little relief if you want Bitcoin to come in, right? The reason as well that Sailor's Bitcoin bars have been getting smaller and smaller, apart from the fact that, of course, Bitcoin's got higher, is because of MSTR dropping, right? It doesn't make sense to the buys on Bitcoin are going to get smaller as the stock gets under more and more underpriced. It's almost like a cycle. Originally, the promise is I'm going to buy Bitcoin, which is this asset that's going to go up over time with your MSTR. There, I forgot what the word is, NAV or something like this, right? But the ratio at the start was insane, right? Which is why it was so profitable. Which is why Saylor could put so much Bitcoin bids in. But as we get higher and higher and higher, and the growth of Bitcoin stalls, right? And the MAV, whatever the indicator is, right? It goes back to neutral. It becomes less and less profitable to just keep slamming Bitcoin bids, right? And less and less probable. So then, Bitcoin bids get smaller and the stock also starts losing value, which in turn puts more downwards pressure on Bitcoin because now you have that sort of obligation for your shareholders to be paid, right? And if MSTR stocks drop while Bitcoin isn't also performing, then all of a sudden you have this sort of loop where when it's going well, it's going well. When it's going bad, it's going bad, right? But we need this area to hold on MSTR. This is Bath and Body Works. We're at a key area, but structure is not there, so I'm not interested right now. This is Fresh, one of the ones we looked at last time. Again, still at the areas we were talking about, where if you want to talk, I don't know what it does, I don't know what it is, but someone reached out to me with this stock saying you look like you're into beating up stocks. So here's one. Fresh. Look at literally the most simplest here I can do. It's very simple. One directional bet here is to the upside. You will not be betting to the downside on this. If you want to make a good RR play, you will not be betting to the downside, you'll be betting to the upside, right? Same with GOSS, right? If you get that flip, sort of, we get confirmation of some sort of high-low coming in here, right? This could also have a nice little run GOSS, but right now at resistance, which is why I'm being a bit more cautious here. A lot of resistance above us, right? Metaplanet, we're at the Gartley 886 at the 618, right? 618, you can see that 1.618886. We're at the yearly buy-seller zones. If you go to the yearly, you'll see which one I'm talking about, right over here. But nothing telling me I need to bid this yet. Aggressive. Wait. Well, that's on the higher time frame. Lower time frame speaks different. Even on the 4 hours, it's still below everything, which is why I'm not a big fan of this yet. But again, directional bet-wise, very simple to be like, you know what, let me put in like 30% here. Let me save the rest for if we either flip, if we either get above the moving averages, or if we go a bit deeper, right? But Metaplanet, another one, on a higher time frame bet, easy to manage risks. Very easy to manage risk and manage your position size, more importantly. Metaplanet is one where you can very easy to manage it. Wolf, 451% up since bottom entries, but this one, I gave this entry before I even created this server, right? This one was a old play, but this one was a long hold for me, very long hold, all the way back from 2024, in fact, but it's been a while, but it finally did play out properly, right? 451% up. Minor stocks, there's a period where I just bet a load of minor stocks because obviously Bitcoin, right? Don't need to explain the thought process on that. Played out quite well. I still don't know what this is. He had an insane run the other day, which is why I added it. Just because I was thinking, right, can I get some sort of structure to add this on? But there's literally nothing on this right now that's actionable. So I'm keeping an eye on it. Nvidia, nothing to talk about here. Not something that I'm interested in at these highs. Yeah, it can go to digits, whatever. I don't want to buy something at all-time highs that I promise it might go to 4 digits one day when it's at all-time highs, right? So just keep an eye on this. This is the one I wanted to talk about. Baidu. So this is apparently like Chinese Google. I didn't actually know what I'm sure I heard the name before because it sounded familiar, but I wasn't really sure. I didn't really look at the chart, if you know what I mean. But the chart's not bad, you know. So which one did I chart this on? It was a very simple chart, but a chart nonetheless. This one, yeah, right here. Baidu is breaking above a trend line. It is right there, right? You can see that firstly, resistance, breakout, very clean retest here. Aggressive sellers were trapped for a bit. So as long as you're above this area, BIDU is a bid, in my opinion. Right? If you want a long-term bid, there's your range, but obviously you guys know I'm not a fan of DCing a huge range like this. I'd rather just cut and re-enter a bit lower with better size than just try to DC a range, right? But the first bit's really easy, right? The first state of affairs is, as long as you're above the trend line breakout, you've got to be thinking higher because you've confirmed the flip, right? You've got the flip now. So if you entered here, the easiest thing is if you get below 144.38 and you accept below that, you just cut. And you try to bid either around 102, this fill, or if that's lost, around 93. But as long as you're above this, Baidu, however you say this, could go higher. Very simple. Reason I like this is because, again, China stock. All right. Technology services. I heard it's like the Google of China, basically. So sounds interesting. Okay, Aura. I know liquidity cap. My bro asked for this one. The BAM would be huge, right? If you got the B point flip on this, trigger a BAM all the way to the 886 to 2.618 at 10 to 11, in my opinion. But if not, right now as we speak, we're at a very key level, and the reason I had this marked is because it was a seller zone. So this year, previous half seller zone is right here. You're at the mid of the said seller zone, right? So again, like literally, if you wanted a bid, if we take a look at this, right? This is what? This is RR on Nasdaq. Again, let's go and take a look. RR on Nasdaq, right? And I was looking at this on the on the daily. So yeah, let's take a look at this on the daily. I need to decrease the size, so let's go for like 90 ticks for higher time frame. Really? Okay, let's go even lower. 30. What the hell? Does no one trade this or something? Why is it so... Why does the chart look like that? Okay, like we know this is where that... If we take this... 4.02, right? I'm just going to go here. I'm just going to do this, and I'm just going to say 4.02. There. What kind of reaction are we getting at this? So already you can see on the weekly, our actual buy-side imbalance is a bit lower, right? Which makes me think that we probably get a stab into that. But what you can see here is actually... aggressive buyers, they were not rewarded. Yeah, so there's no signs here telling me that you should bid this yet. So I wouldn't have a confident buy here yet. What you have 1.46 million in volume, 1,460,000 contracts traded, with 297,330 of that being on the aggressive buyer side, and yet look at the candle close. This is terrible, right? You're basically saying even in the face of all that aggressive buying, you still had passive sellers that were overwhelming you. Right, the amount of passive selling being limit orders that were coming in, it was just insane. So yeah, until I see better structure RR, I'm not interested in buying this yet, even though we're at a key level. It's not enough to just be at a key level. You want to see arguments for your reason, whatever side, and obviously we're looking to buy this. So we're talking buy side arguments, but I'm not seeing arguments here for why I should bid. I don't see strength yet. Okay, fair enough. We probably go and fill that weekly imbalance below the buy side imbalances. So let's see how it goes. And finally, BTBT, my bro Ryu just shared that earlier. And honestly, that doesn't look bad for a chart. Depending on if ETH nukes or not, it's probably going to have an effect on this one. But I've seen worse charts. This is not bad at all, to be honest. One sec, actually. What do we have here? It's a big if. I don't know if it actually happens, but if we actually get some, if that ever hits, that's a nice bid. I don't know if it will, but that's on log, obviously. So that, let me just turn that off because there's no guarantees that hits. Let's take a look. It's probably better to do this over here. 2 taps at the bottom, we have many taps at the top. There. Over the midline, you're Gucci. Here's the thing, easy to manage here in the sense that, look, you can buy this and just sell if you ever lose the monthly 50, right? Because you're above the monthly 50 and the monthly VWAP right now. If you start developing below it, understand you're below a very significant dynamic level, and I wouldn't be holding anything until, like, we got to close above, right? But as long as you're above this, the easiest way you can manage your risk right now is just be like, all right, if we ever get below this, I'm just gonna cut. But not bad. Yeah, I'll take a look at this one, bro. BTBT. I'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, that's not bad at all. But yeah, so there's loads of, like, you can see that's the reason I'm not all in on crypto and I'm not giving you guys any crypto plays, right? We've made good money in crypto. We make good money with crypto, make good money with stocks as well on the side. We've got a stocks channel too. So if anyone's like, still falling on crypto, like, please, I would honestly, I've said this many times, I'm not a financial advisor, but I think it's very healthy to not just be looking at one market. right? Not just looking at one market. This is like, you know, things happen in rotations. We know that, right? Look at crypto stock reports at all-time high today when crypto's nuking, right? So you know, there's always money's always going to be rotating, right? So we gotta adapt, right? If majority of the attention goes to stocks, then we'll look occasionally at crypto while we focus stocks for a bit. It's what it is, right? There'll be loads of money to be made. You know, we've had many periods like that throughout this, even the last 3-4 years, right? When Bitcoin was going sideways for a year, stocks were absolutely ripping. Yet many people made the mistake of being all in on crypto and not getting any gains for a year. While Nvidia went from the lows to the highs, when Coinbase ripped, PayPal ripped, Tesla ripped, right? So many things ripped. So always, like, you know, you've got to be multifaceted. You can't just be looking at one avenue. But yeah, so those are some stocks. Bid Rivian. I would, if you want to bid Rivian, I would look at this on a flip now, simply because, like, obviously we know at a resistance, right? Resistance 2024. There's your high. There's your other high. There's your other high. So we're at resistance here. If you can get above this, however, I'd say a flip of this would be the next bid, right? Flip of this with the next bid. If you do enter here, as soon as you get below 1529, I'd cut, because it's a long way back down from 15 to 13, right? So, but right now, just I won't bid right here. Like, bidding here and waiting for something like this, right? Even getting above this is realistically from 1517 is not that big of a difference. But even if you start vertically consolidating above here, it's a much better bid than bidding at resistance, right? So yeah. But yeah, guys, that's a quick one for me. Oh, just wanted to say, I know many of you are wanting to do the Wyckoff, right? So I created a separate channel for those that were interested. I put a message in there. I don't know if you guys actually have seen it. I know Saul's seen it. But for whoever's wanting to do it, I'd appreciate it if you guys just let me know, like, who's interested, who's not, right, in that particular channel. I've given the people who showed interest a role. So if you just tell me I'm interested in this or I'm not, just so I know, because I already know a few people that signed up. I've got more than enough to start a class already. I'm just trying to get a final head count before we get this started in January, right? So yeah, I know you're going to be in it as well, bro. Right? Soul signed up the other day as well. He sent them money through the other day. So just let me know in that channel, and we'll just take it from there. But like I said, there's no, like, you know, I'm not saying you need to know Wyckoff or Elliott Waves to be successful. You don't, right? Only take it like if you're genuinely interested in it as a concept and you want that extra edge. Like, you do not need it. Like, you don't. Even if you don't take the course, it's not like, oh damn, I'm going to be a shit trader. You're not. You can do fine literally just off core, right? With core and advanced, you've got pretty much everything you need to be a successful investor or a scalper. Literally just consider this if you're interested in that knowledge, plus getting the extra bit of edge. That's it, right? But yeah. If anyone interested, there's a channel. I called it Wyckoff plus Elliott Waves, right? All the info's in there in the general. So just let me know in there. We'll get started late December, early January-ish. You don't see it. One sec, brother. Let me. Do you know what? I'll get it sorted out after I end this stream. Actually, no. I'll sort it out now. One sec. Let me